Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Why protest is unnecessary by Akume, Edun, Bagudu, and Alake. Nel Fund disburses 1.1 billion naira as tuition fee to 20,000 students. IED detonated in Lagos. Makinde names technical varsity after Ajimobi. EFCC recovers 231.62 billion under Tinubu. Onwenu preached love in last performance. Billionaire businessman Otedola backs federal government on forex windfall levy. Okay, which story?
Yes, I will start with the Onyeka Onwenu story. All of us yesterday woke up to the news of the sad demise of the legendary songstress, songwriter, journalist, and actor Onyeka Onwenu. They said she slumped during a live performance and died minutes afterwards. She's described as the activist and author breathed her last after preaching peace with her hit song One Love at the 80th birthday ceremony in honor of an industrialist, Dr. Stella Okoli. They said that it seemed like she was leaving her last words, with us, with the performance of, One Love. The singer was dubbed the elegant stallion by the media in her heydays. She left behind 2 sons, Abraham and Tijani Ogunlende, as well as her ex-husband, Mr. Ogunlende, families, and also numerous fans. They said her career spans, 4 decades. She was an American-trained broadcaster, began her career at the NTA, where she made indelible impact as a newsreader and reporter. And then in 1984, she wrote and presented internationally acclaimed BBC NTA documentary. So obviously, she's lived a life of impact. Mm-hmm. And, for us, all of us here, we bid her farewell, and hearts go out to the families that she's left behind. And of course, numerous tributes from all around the country, the president, the president's wife, former Mr. Peter Obi, who even said he was actually there, when it happened, and followed her all the way to the hospital. Yeah. So may her soul continue to rest in peace, and may her legacy live on.
It'd be nice to talk about her a bit later. Maybe we'll have to. But let me come to you, Nima. What are
I want to take
paper that you took?
Yeah, the chairman of First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, Mr. Sadly, funnily, I saw Mr. I was expecting one chief something. Mr. Femi Otedola has thrown his weight behind the implementation of the windfall levy by the CBN. So he says this move will foster fairer and more equitable economic environment. He also criticized some bank chiefs, executives, who said they prioritize personal gain over duty to shareholders and customers and jettison banking values. He accused 4 banks of spending over $500 million on purchase of private jets, saying that this extravagant lifestyle would erode public confidence in the banking industry and has far-reaching implications. He also explained that the windfall taxes are often levied on companies or individuals who receive substantial unexpected profits due to circumstances beyond their usual control or investment. So those who had the opportunity to make extreme profits, maybe during COVID or other circumstances around the country, maybe the FX and all of that, were those who were levied on this. And he said this taxes on extraordinary gains ensures a fairer distribution of wealth, allowing those who benefit disproportionately to contribute more significantly to broader societal good. And he said he endorses it in line this windfall because he believes that to eventually balance wealth and enhance economic stability and places some integrity on the financial institutions in the country. He said he's also advising that it should be channeled into essential public services such as healthcare, education, infrastructure, and benefit all citizens and help reduce societal inequalities. And I'm totally agreeing with him. I'm beginning to see the benefits of it.
Okay. Let me say that story concerning the IED. So the Lagos State Police Command yesterday detonated an improvised explosive device left by an unknown individual in Ikeja, just here. The device was reportedly dropped off by a man driving a white Toyota car around 3:55 p.m. So according to the report, at about 4 p.m., a police officer had reported to the EOCBRN, that's the Explosive Ordnance Disposal, Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Unit. they were promptly called because the police officer had observed a Toyota car park, drop off a bag, and zoom off. And they're now wondering what could be in the back. So they had to call the EOD CBRN base in Ikeja. So while he was on the way, he sighted the unregistered vehicle, and the young man alighted and dropped off the bag. But eventually, it was cordoned off. The IED was cordoned off, and then it was detonated. So imagine what people have up their sleeves.
I want to take the story about the EFCC, the Economic Financial Crimes Commission. They've released details of the past 1 year under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Said that they've recovered 231 billion naira in the first year of the administration. They said that they listed other recoveries they've done. The commission has investigated 15,000 petitions as well as 12,000 cases between May 2023 and May 2024. Then they spoke about the setting up of immigration fraud section across the different commands. The EFCC received, the executive chairman of the commission, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, received the Royal Canadian Mounted Police led by Director General Superintendent Rabi Abdallah in Abuja, and said that because they've had several reports of immigration fraud where in case of people trying to travel abroad are scammed, they have created an immigration fraud unit in all the sections of EFCC. So we expect to see speedy trial of cases, investigation of things related to immigration fraud. And we're looking forward to more successes to protect the good name of Nigeria.
Punch. Tension, food prices rise as hunger protest begins today. FG withholds 4.9 billion naira Unity Schools meal subsidy. Guard, 2 others held for Justice Ajimogobia's daughter's murder. Imported vaccine lingers as cholera cases hit 4,809. Reps direct NNPC to suspend crude for loan deal. How doctors battle to save Onyeka and Onwenu's life, says Obi. Students may pay 80,000 naira electricity tariff. Electricity fee in varsity, says VC's panel. And CBN advances opposition. OPS oppose higher borrowing limits for federal government. Okay, let's take one story for the break.
I have the human interest story. So the Lagos State Police Command said it arrested 3 domestic workers of Justice Rita Ofili Ajimogobia. This followed the discovery of the judge's daughter, Aribem Chukwu's dead body outside the gates of their Parkview Estate home in Ikoyi. This happened on Wednesday. The police has confirmed the arrest, and also responding to inquiry says that a family source that was privy to the incident, didn't want to be named, had said that this happened Tuesday night. It seemed like something had happened. She was murdered Tuesday night, and then her body was placed in front of the house to make it seem like it didn't happen in the house. But upon investigation, they were able to find blood splatter and a sign like they were trying to mop up blood. So it showed that that murder happened within the house. And they're suspecting it will be the new domestic workers that were employed about a month ago. So investigation is still ongoing, but those arrests have been made so far. Really, shocking story.
Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing the punch.
Okay, so I have...
Let me take the imported vaccine. So the number of cholera cases have increased in Nigeria to 4,800 across 35 states, and it has affected about 192 local government areas. As of July 21st, 2024. The country has also recorded 156 deaths, since the fatality rate is now at 3.2% since the beginning of this year alone. So the data, according to the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, said that Nigeria will receive cholera vaccines from the Global Vaccine Alliance in a few weeks, and they would utilize these vaccines within the hotspot areas. And because we know that cholera is extremely highly contagious with food and waterborne disease, then they said they would be applying the vaccines when the vaccines arrive. It was supposed to have come in. There's a bit of delay, but the expected cases, once the vaccine comes in and it is applied to the areas where there is like it's hotspot, then we should see a reduction in the number of occurrence of cholera.
So I have the universities may pay 80,000, students may pay 80,000 be charged 80,000 for electricity tariff. According to the Secretary General of the Committee of Vice Chancellors of Nigeria Universities, Professor Yakubu Ochefu, in an interview with Punch, he says the universities cannot afford 200 million naira monthly that they were charged for electricity. He says they used to be charged 61 million naira monthly before the introduction of Band A systems. And since the introduction, they've had between 200 to 300 million naira monthly. And we know the story of how the bands and all of that, but this interview took account of how each university is coping. So we said the ABU Zaria, Kaduna State, in Kaduna State and University of Benin are all lamenting the receiving bills of 3.6 billion naira electricity and 300 million naira monthly. And they also went to the private universities, Babcock. Those ones said they paid 300 million naira in May for electricity. Wow. And different accounts like that. So they will soon start to put that bill on students, where you have students paying 80,000 monthly for electricity within campuses.
Oh.
Okay, let me move on. I was going to take a strip, but I think let's move on now to Daily Sun. Mass protests, security forces locked down Abuja, Lagos, and others. Pandemonium in Owerri as gunmen launch attacks. Senate expands CBN loan mandate to federal government. Now Fund disburses over 1.17 billion naira loans to 20,000 students. Consular services, U.S. Embassy consulate change visa services provider. 1 year not long enough for Tinubu's policies to yield desired results, says Senate. Okay, which story? In Daily Sun, should I take pandemonium that's going on in Owerri? So, gunmen on Wednesday launched more attacks in Owerri, Imo State, and their violence causing pandemonium in and around the city. Residents who were jolted by indiscriminate gunshots in different parts of town scampered in different directions for safety. The shooting took place in the popular Ikenegbu area road near the government house in Okigwe Road, stretching from the government house junction to the Imo State University campus. Other areas that were overrun by gunmen were the Amawusa area of Douglas Road and the Toronto Street, which stretches to MCC Road. Everybody ran for their dear life, according to reports, when the shooting was going on. According to Mrs. Roslyn Okeke, she is a fish seller at the Relief Market near Fire Service Junction. She said that everybody ran for their lives. Mrs. Okeke also said that the assailants shot several times when they came close to the police station. So this is quite scary. And they said that the Commissioner of Police has personally led men to that area, and the command is on top of the situation according to reports that we have now. We will get the miscreants, according to the police, responsible for the senseless attacks and either dead or alive. We will deal with the miscreants responsible for the attacks, killing of security operatives and suspected members of the public.
So the U.S. consulate, the embassy in Abuja, as well as the consulate general in Lagos, have announced that they are moving to a new visa service provider starting August 26. And they said they published this notice on their website. And all non-immigrant visa interview appointments remain valid. They said if your interview is between August 16 and on or before August 16, 2024, then your requirements remain valid. No further action is required by you. You may continue to access your account at ustravels.com to review your appointment. But if your interview is after between the 16th and 26th of August, you are no longer, no further action is also required, but you will no longer be able to access ustravelsdocs.com coming after August 16. And that means that you will not be able to reschedule or cancel your appointments from that date, and you will no longer have access to customer service. You should print your appointment confirmation letter before the 16th, and they strongly encourage that you should attend to your visa interview if possible. If you fail to appear, you have to schedule an interview, please check on or after the 26th for instructions on rescheduling your appointment. If your interview is scheduled for 26th or later, no further action is required, but you will no longer have access to your the ustravel.docs.com account after August 16th, and that means you will not be able to cancel or reschedule your appointment. So those of you interested in going there,
I think it's very
check
welcome because they had scattered the system. Nigeria has entered the system. So if you book, they've hacked the system. You'll be getting 2025 and you want to travel, and when you pay, you can get a closer date. So I'm happy that they are resetting it.
I have now from the Nigeria Education Loan Fund. It says the MD, Mr. Akintunde Sawyer, says that they have disbursed 1.17 billion naira to 20,000 students in 5 of the public tertiary institutions that have applied for the loan. And they're saying that they will be adding 1 more beneficiary before the end of the day. They said that the number that they have will keep increasing based on applications, and that these students have been 100% paid. And the institutions, as we know, they're all across the country. Then they said that the disbursements to these institutions will be made at the beginning of their sessions to ensure transparent and equitable distribution of resources. An additional disbursement of 850 million will also leave NEL Fund to various institutions due to receive loans. Then he says that there's 260,000 students that have been approved for payment of upkeep loans and their institution's charges. So apart from that one that goes to the tuition, there's also an upkeep loan. It says that some people may need the tuition and don't need the upkeep loan. Postgraduate students have also asked if this loan could be applied to them, and they said no. But the government said that this is for undergraduates, at least for now. That's what they have. And for undergraduates from vulnerable, communities or undergraduates that are vulnerable. So good. It seems like it's going on well, and we're happy, and they hope that with time we'll be able to add even more institutions under this project.
Yeah. So yesterday the Senate had a closed-door meeting. In the closed-door session, they were talking about the Senate, the workings of the Senate, and then workings of the National Assembly. And after the meeting, the Senate President, Babajide, came out to talk about the fact that 1 year is not enough time to judge this current administration. He said the current administration of President Bola Tinubu, we can't use 1 year to judge that it will yield desired results. So it was urging calmness. He also now started listing the things that they have achieved, that the Senate will do everything within its power to give speedy approval to things that will bring peace, to ameliorate the situation within the country, is the word they used. He said that the National Minimum Wage Act was signed. They also mentioned the sale of crude oil to local refineries in Naira and the implementation of the Student Loan Act. He said the assent to the fact that there will be the Southeast and Northwest Development Commission bill has been passed by the National Assembly to further address development at the grassroots level, and that the Senate will continue to legislate on matters that will bring succor to Nigerians in general.
Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Protesters urged to leave room for dialogue as police deploy assets. Windfall levy bankers meet Tinubu for clarifications. Protest, we can't afford another #EndSARS experience, says Sanwo-Olu and Oyebanji. Boko Haram suicide attack kills 19 in just dozens in Borno village. Murder of Ajimogbobia's daughter, 3 domestic staff arrested. Bank recapitalization, foreign investors moving in, says Cardoso. And we can't pay 70,000 minimum wage, says Gombe governor. Okay, which story is that in the Vanguard?
Gombe governor, he says that he cannot pay the new minimum wage. He says that even though he commends the government for reaching that, he has set up a committee to meet. He cannot pay this minimum wage. He was speaking during the stakeholders meeting at the banquet hall of Gombe Government House and on the planned protest against hunger. He said, I cannot pay 70,000 minimum wage, and I suspect many other states are in the same predicament. He also commended government for the donated rice and said that they have also not received the 20 trucks of rice marked for Gombe State as promised by the government for each state. He also says that the state is committed to providing relief to citizens. And I'm wondering, also, Kano governor in the same story is echoing him, saying he has put together an advisory committee for the implementation of the new minimum wage, and they're looking to how they would structure the payments. That's cook off it.
Okay. Another story?
Yes, so the House of Rep blamed. So the House of Representative Committee on Steel Development, they've expressed worry over the circulation of substandard iron rods across the country. The chairman of the committee, Zainab Gimba, said that the substandard rods could be traced to the rising rate of building collapse in the country. He was speaking during the interactive session with the Nigerian Society of Engineers in Abuja yesterday. Gimba called on the stakeholders to collaborate to address the problem because according to her reports, based on the findings they have done, that there were 10 millimeters that are actually what is being sold in the market as 10 millimeters is actually 7.6 millimeters for iron rod. What is sold as 12 millimeter is actually 9.2 millimeters. So the lawmaker said there are several fake iron rods being sold in the market and they're transported in daylight, lamenting that the supervising agencies need to do more.
This is terrible because Nigeria has a reputation of having the best iron rods. So I'm surprised
have
that
steel.
But our steel companies,
we have to.